Hey everyone, my name is Esther and this is my husband Luke. Welcome to our Power Couples podcast where we navigate business and relationships. Today we have our good friends Rob and Jen Castillo. Can you guys please introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Hi.
Yeah, hey, how you doing? First and foremost, thank you guys for having us today. We really appreciate the time here. And just a little bit to introduce ourselves, I'm Rob.
I'm Jen.
And Jen, my wife. In any case, so what we do is, we have a wholesale business, and we've been doing it for about 2 years now. A lot of growth and a lot of connection and networking has occurred during that time, and it's been a fantastic. That's how we met you guys.
Yeah.
The connection and growth of the whole business.
About a year ago.
So it's been a great run for us. We've scaled slowly by surely, but we're reaching our goals and getting to where we need to be.
Yeah, a lot of trial and error, a lot of wins, some losses, definitely more wins than losses, but we've learned a lot and we're continuing to learn a lot every day, and it's just been a complete life changer for us.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. And so let's backtrack a little bit and start off with, how did you two meet, and then how did you transition from meeting into the conversation surrounding real estate?
Okay, well, do you want to open that up as to how
So we met in 2017. Rob sent me a friend request on Facebook one night, and I accepted it because we had a bunch of mutual friends. He worked at the Fairfax County Police Department, and I was a 911 dispatcher for Fairfax. So we had a ton of mutual friends, which is one of the reasons I accepted the other, because he's gorgeous. And so we started talking back and forth, and I sent him a message, and I was like, "Do I know you?" And he was like, "Oh gosh, did I arrest her before? Is that how she knows me?"
I did. That actually went through my mind, and I was like, "Well, let's." And then she goes, "I'm a 911 dispatcher." So then at that point, I was like, "What's up? How you doing?"
Yeah.
And here we are now. So
yeah, we talked for several months before we actually hung out in person, and it was like, as soon as we started hanging out, that was it. And then we were engaged in 6 months. We were married a year and a half
later. Yeah.
And so the conversation really started with real estate probably about 6 months after we got engaged. Money's tight, and we had a big wedding that we were paying for, and trying to figure out this paycheck to paycheck 9 to 5, shift work, but trying to figure out how are we going to make this work. And so Rob got this crazy idea to do real estate, and I'm like, then we're going to have to get a realtor's license, and we're going to have to do all this. Like, we don't know anything about that, And he was like, "No, babe, it's called wholesaling. Like, it's a thing." And I'm like, "Tell me more." And so he was into it, like full speed ahead. And I gotta be honest, I was a little irritated because he would spend so much time like just devouring all the trainings that we could afford at the time, which were free. And
free
so
trainings.
He was spending hours and hours, like, just taking in all this information and like by himself. And that went on for like a year and a half, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I was literally, after we got married, we were in debt up to our ears. I mean, we almost lost our house twice, to be, completely open. And, for me, I wanted to find, I love police work. I love the guys I work with. They were amazing. But I just wanted to find something else to where I can grow and then have my own business, be at home with family, and, just go that route. So one day we were watching, after we had gotten married, I think it was like maybe a month or two after, watching Flipping 101 with Tariq Musa. And they wanted to watch the show. Her and my son Phoenix were like, "Let's watch it." And I was like, "I don't want to watch that, man. I don't HGTV homes and all that stuff." In any case, they were like, "Let's just watch it. Come on, one episode." So we saw that first episode, and I was like, "This is incredible." So then I got addicted, and the whole day we started watching that show. And then
we binge watched it.
So then I was like, "Man, I would love to flip a house. That would be incredible." But then I was like, "Wait a minute, I'm $61,000 in debt. I don't even have money to my name.
We can't even afford our house.
Yeah,
how are we going to afford
thinking how I was going to do that?" So
I
was like, I don't know how this is going to work. In any case, started dabbling into real estate in terms of like seeing what was out there. How can I flip a house was my main question. And then I came across wholesaling. started doing some free trainings through, TTP. I started doing Flip with Rick, some of these trainings that were free in the beginning. That really helped to get information out. And after that, man, just took off. September 2021, we had 150 in our account for 2 weeks of all family expenses. I looked at her and I said, "Hey, can I get $50 to start this business?" She looked at me and she was like,
"When you got nothing to
let's
lose."
Go.
Yeah.
So we did it, and it was a success from
the
there.
best $50 we ever spent. And that was just on a minor list to skip trace through PropStream.
Very minor. Yeah.
And so, we started and we got our LLC. And there were a few things before that. We got our LLC before we even got that list to skip trace. And so that was a big expense for us at the time. I think that was a couple $100s to get all the filings. And then a couple of other steps that we went through. But we started really reaching out to people in October of 2021. And within the first, month, we had 6 properties under contract already.
Wow.
And so when we started, we were projected just from October to December to make half of Rob's whole salary in those short few months.
Yeah.
Did you do all of the calling and outreach yourselves?
Yeah.
Yes. So basically we started out with SMS. We still do it to this day. But we started out with batch leads, and we were just literally building lists on PropStream. And then we were sending SMS texts out through batch leads. It's changed since then. We have different systems now that we use to do that, but that's how we started out. Yeah. We were sending out about maybe 200 texts a day. So it's kind of funny now, because now it's a lot more that we send out, but it's been a great journey in terms of what we've done.
It was super overwhelming too, because we were brand new at this, and we had our daughter who was 2-3 months old at the time. So I'm at home taking care of our kids and sending the texts out and doing all the outreach and stuff while he's working. He only worked 14 days a month, but those 14 days that he was at work from he had to leave the house at 3 a.m. and didn't get home till 8 p.m. Yeah. And so
some nights, if I had overtime, I was there until maybe 10, 11 and coming home. But in those days, it was tough, because
it was a challenge.
I had to come home at that point, and then it wasn't like come home and I get to hang out with the kids and family. It was no, let's follow up on text, let's call, let's go.
And when we hit it, it just took off so fast. And so it was difficult for Rob, because he was still working as a police officer. I was a stay-at-home mom and running our business full time. And we would schedule times to go see properties on days that he was off. But your days off, as anybody in shift work, you need that time to really rejuvenate and get your rest, because those hours are difficult. And so it was we live about an hour and a half outside of DC, west of DC, and a lot of properties we see are right on the outskirts of DC and Woodbridge. We're heavy in Northern Virginia. So it was bam, we're on the road all day long on his days off. And it really took a toll on him. It was just nonstop.
Yeah, it was tough, but I got through it, and we pushed forward.
That's just a testament to, you saw that proof of concept, and you really dialed in, knowing that there was something on the other side of that, and you didn't just, not that police work isn't honorable, but you saw that there was a greater calling for your family and what you want to, spend the rest of your life doing.
Yeah, just to have more time, man. That's my whole goal. My whole goal is to have a home business that I could run and then be here with family. I mean, now, I work my 9-10 hour days and whatnot, but it's not work to me. To me, I enjoy it, and I'm also at home, so I can walk up and down the stairs. I can hang out with my family, and then have time to hang out. It's not me driving and coming home, and so it's very nice to have, and it's the freedom of having it is very nice.
And he's such a good dad, and so it's really nice, because he's always wanting to make sure that Gabby, our littlest one, for now, he wants to make sure that he's always at her appointments. And I remember before, when he was working shift work, it was I would have to go through this whole maze of finding times that I could schedule her doctor's appointments. But now it's okay, schedule it, and we just block that time off. That time we're just not working on the business. He's able to be present, and his time is his time. And so sometimes I look back and I'm like, this is exactly what I dreamed of. This is what I wanted. And I have to remind myself of that when you get in the day to day and like you're used to it, like you sometimes don't always appreciate what you have. It's easy to get like in the day to day mundane routine, but like this is really what we wanted. We wanted to be able to have that flexibility and that freedom, and we worked so hard to have that. And so like it's nice to just remind yourself like how far you came and why you're doing what you're doing.
Absolutely. Yeah, you guys definitely had your fair share of struggles, but through dedication, you guys stuck through it together. What do you think are some of the best practices that you guys established as a couple to make sure that your relationship stayed intact as well as working on your business?
That's a great question.
Yeah, that is. I will tell you, at the very beginning, Rob and I both have very, very strong personalities. We are both always right all the time.
Butting heads, yeah.
Yeah. And so it's funny because it really taught, like, owning a business together really taught us a lot about our marriage, which I never translated that when we started. I never thought like, oh, this is gonna like really make us work on our marriage too. I was just like, oh, we're gonna make more money together. No,
right.
Like if you wanna know how strong your marriage is, start a business together. But it really helped us. I mean, it wasn't always easy. We had a lot of struggles with just communication, and hearing each other and like having to take a step back too and realize that like there's more than one way to do things, and it doesn't mean that like my way is the only right way or his way is the only right way. So a lot of forgiveness, a lot of patience, and learning to and we still work on this, but learning not to talk over each other all the time and cut each other off. That's really,
we're working on that too.
It's hard not to take it personal because then it's like,
yes.
Okay, is he wearing his husband hat or is he wearing his real estate hat?
Well, and it all just mixes together 24/7. I've had to, to be honest, our business would not be where it is right now without him. Yeah. I took a major role when we first started our business. And I kind of feel like once he left the police department and I was able to step back, I kind of stepped back. And then we've gone through some challenges of we lost a baby last summer. And that just threw my game off completely. And then we got into a flip last year, which took us completely away from wholesaling.
We were still doing it, but it wasn't as serious.
Yeah, it just wasn't you have to be consistent 24/7, and we weren't doing that. So we've had some bumps in the road and we've had some things, but honestly, my focus right now is off in La La Land. I'm pregnant with number 3. And I'm tired all the time. And I'm also chasing after a very active 2-year-old little girl. And then we have a 13-year-old. Yeah. So my focus has really shifted more towards family. And Rob's has been on the business completely. So we've kind of switched up roles a little bit. And sometimes I have a lot of opinions still, but I'm you know what? I need to step back because he's the one that's handling this and it's all still going great. But yeah, it's been a lot. It's been a true testament to our marriage.
Yeah. And I would say, one of the biggest things too is just, I'd say, the communication thing, of course, is always going to come up. But it's finding that way to be able to work together. You're not going to always see eye to eye. Just what it is, you know what I'm saying? But when it comes down to it, it's being able to come together and say, hey, look, although you don't agree and I don't agree, let's find a middle ground. Let's get it squared away. And, that's what we're definitely better at since the beginning, since we started in the beginning. She, in essence of things, has taken kind of a step back in terms of what she's doing. She's still texting people. And so I don't want to make it seem like she's completely out of it. She's still doing stuff for the business, but it's kind of taken that role where, now, cause I'm all 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There are times where she tells me, babe, we're chilling out in bed. Let's just have
Yeah.
a family conversation. I'm like, you don't understand. We got this property here, and look at this
Yeah.
guy, and we have this company that we can work. She's like, turn it off. So sometimes I have trouble turning it off because I'm always trying to run.
Yeah, it's like 10 p.m. at night, and his brain is still just going.
She told me the other day.
He's like, I got to talk to you about this and this and this and this and this. And I'm like, babe, my brain was fried at 2 p.m. today.
Yeah.
Like, I can't think about this right now.
Yeah,
like,
so I mean, that's the thing. It all balances out, and you know, when Gabby is up here and we're in the office, you know, she of course takes the helm, but you know, we've worked. She does. She takes care of Gabby and all that.
I'm just laughing that you can't see the crayons all over the floor in the background, and
the angle just right, you know.
The wall's all marked up because she's a mile a minute.
But generally speaking, man, I will say that you know, it's all about working together and figuring things out together. That's pretty much it. You're not going to agree on everything, but you know, you focus on the core goal that you're trying to accomplish together, and then, you know, get to that, and you'll figure everything else out as you go.
Yeah. And we've also started doing counseling too, and working with a life coach who does Reiki, to really like center, because we're big into energy. And
subconscious mind and universal energy.
Yeah. So working on our energy and what we're putting out, not only has it been like largely beneficial to our kids, but also between he and I. It's not, you know, it's not like you see on Instagram, everything's perfect all the time. Like, no, we have a beautiful life and we have so much to be thankful for, but it doesn't mean it's not hard. Like there's, you know, it like you still got to put the work in every day. And sometimes like just waking up and wanting to put the work in is a challenge in itself. So we've come a long way, and we definitely have learned so much about ourselves personally and each other.
Yep. That was going to be my follow-up question is like, you know, what are you guys doing as a couple to really, you know, because when we went to community camp, one of the things that really stuck with me was the fact that I believe it was Cody Barton said that your business will never outpace your personal development. So if you're not constantly working on yourselves, you'll hit a ceiling in your business revenue, or if you pass it, it will quickly fall back down to where it needs to be. You know, you mentioned, you know, like life coaching, working on energy. Is there a time, you know, because you mentioned like, oh, you'll go like all day. Have you thought about having a hard stop? Do you think that would improve your business during the days you have working hours, or do you think like the rhythm you have going right now is going to be for the next foreseeable like season?
Well, I will say this, and what Cody said is completely on point, man. I mean, I can't even, it's a testament to my own life. I mean, I do 75 hard. I'm currently on it now. And it is crazy that when you put the focus on growing within yourself and actually focusing on becoming better at whatever it is you're looking to do, you know, personally, mentally, physically, spiritually, how much more your business actually does push forward than when you're just in a comfort zone. You know, I've had it to where, personally speaking, I would go in waves. You know, I'd be, gun ho, boom, 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 let's go. And then I get to a point where we have a couple deals and it's like, okay, I can relax a little bit. Then I start seeing things, and then I start getting to a point where I'm like, hey man, is, you know, this business, what are we doing? Like, is this really where I'm at, what I want to do? And I'm only doing that because of the fact that, you know, I was high, and then I'm over here chilling now, doing things, eating junk food and all that stuff, you know, and not really focusing on myself. Then when I start focusing on myself again, man, it just shoots back up. So testament to definitely when you focus on your, you know, yourself and growth, and personally speaking, it pushes business through the roof. You know, you accomplish infinite amount of success because of what you got built inside with the abundance and everything else.
Yeah, we're huge believers just in energy, and I didn't used to be. I thought that was like cuckoo, you know. I was like, no, that's not a thing. But it's so crazy because just today we had talked about a seller that we're working with right now, and bless his heart, he's got a lot of issues with this property, and we needed to reach back out to him. The title work came back, and it was just, it's a mess. It's a mess, but we're going to do whatever we can to help him. And one of my like worst traits is that I'm an avoider. Like when something feels a little too challenging, I'm like, it's easy for me to just like, okay, I'm going to block that off and completely forget about it. And that's, what I kind of did with this. I'm like, well, that's too much of a challenge. And I hadn't even thought about it. But anyway, so we were talking about this seller last night. We had a long conversation about him. First thing this morning, he had texted us. And it's just crazy because it's like, seriously, whatever you put out into the universe, that's what you're going to get back.
Yeah.
And so that's been one of our big focal points is like, really honing in on what it is that we're wanting to receive and opening ourselves up to receiving that and putting the energy out there that we need to put out to receive what it is that we're wanting.
And then the action behind it.
Exactly. The diligence behind what you're looking to receive. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The action is key, man. I mean, you can sit here all day and just blow smoke. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. You can sit here and I believe in meditation. I do it every day and stuff along those lines and visualizations. You can do those, man. But if you're not taking that action, then, really, you're just spinning wheels. But I will say that meditation, visualization and stuff does help propel that action and help you to push forward too. So
it brings you closer to your goals. Yeah. It brings you closer to what you dream of.
Yeah, 100%. One thing I really was not struggling with, I've always, like, meditation's always been good for me, but resonating. And so I was talking to our life coach and she was like, you need to resonate a little bit more when you're doing visualizations and stuff. And I never really focused on the word resonation. When I visualized, it was like, I see it, but it's like, okay, cool. And I recently started visualizing and actually resonating, feeling that I'm in that environment, actually touching things and smelling things. And it's crazy how much more it's like, wow, it's like, it's there, it's real. It puts in your mind like, hey, this is what I'm doing. Let's go. It's crazy how that works.
So it's like, it's just basically invoking more senses into the visualization and instead of just like a picture in your mind.
Yeah. So instead of having a picture,
more real.
Yeah. So, for example, like, if you're visualizing, and of course you can tell some of my visualizations are. So if you're sitting in a Lamborghini, right, and you're touching the leather and you're smelling the leather and you're hearing the engine and stuff along those lines, like it's just more of like, it's more impact. I'm not saying it's more. It just feels a little more like powerful when you're visualizing. But something I just started.
And then he looks over and then he sees our new little car seat right next to him in the Lamborghini.
Yeah, I see the car seat, and then I look back over, and then I wake up.
And then it's a minivan all of a sudden.
and then my daughter slapped me.
That's
in the face.
one thing we will never ever have a minivan.
I see the car seat.
Don't knock until you try them. Yeah.
No, you know what? I gotta be honest. When I was in high school, my parents they had a minivan, and that was my hand-me-down car that I mean I was able to drive, so whatever. But I would ride up into the senior parking lot.
Yeah.
Like this.
I was the same exact way.
Yep. I hated it. It literally, it was a Dodge Caravan on the side. Yeah. And people used to make fun of me for this. It said Sport Wagon. Sport Wagon.
Speedster.
So I will never get a minivan. I don't care if we have to get like 3 cars that we can fit everything that we need to it.
Yeah,
I won't do it. My parents scarred me.
Yeah, but I know, so to touch base, I know you had that question and I kind of went off track with I think the question. Yeah, the visualization stuff. So I don't know if I answered the actual question.
Oh no, yeah. You brought it full circle, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Do you guys plan on like, what are your next steps for, I guess, like scaling? Are you thinking about starting a team? How are you guys kind of going to remove yourself from the business?
Yeah, well, that's a big thing that actually we've been just really honing in on and talking about recently because we're due in March. And there are a few things that we've really started implementing with our business as far as like we've completely changed up our scripting and how we speak to people, how the call flow will go. Like we've changed a lot of stuff. And it's great because now we actually we're starting to put together like standard operating procedures for our employees and things like that. So it's like one of my friends says, she's like, before you park your nice new car, you've got to clean the garage out. So that's kind of what we're doing right now. Like we're going through making sure that everything is, in order, so that when the baby comes in March, we're able to still have our business running. And we might not have to be, in here all the time. And we have people doing it for us, but yeah, so getting all the stuff squared away with, procedures. And then the next step is going to be making sure that we have a reliable assistant and cold caller.
Yeah. So basically right now, I mean, we are definitely looking to scale.
Mhm.
I do have a dispo manager that's working with us. He does a fantastic job. He's building lists as we speak. I currently just enrolled in this program as well that has, huge dispo and all these buyers. And so this has been great. And not to mention all the connections we already have with dispo. So right now what I'm doing is I'm focusing primarily on acquisitions. I've joined a great mentorship, and it's been really good for me and helped me achieve those goals and really, really hone in on my acquisition skills. And in terms of scaling, we're definitely, I mean, I see big picture, past baby being born and into the future, by December, looking to have $1 million in our business and rolling and keep pushing that up and up. And, right now we're looking for a lead manager to kind of bring the text in and kind of filter them out and then send me the stuff that's actually worth talking to. Right. And we have a cold caller that's sending us stuff too. But right now it's a cold caller, me, and then dispo. And then I take care of SMS and everything else. Mm-hmm. So looking to expand with the lead manager first, adding on another cold caller, that's 2, and then a lead manager, having our dispo guy, me working the acquisitions because I love doing it. And then potentially pulling on an act guy for commissions and having him work side by side with me as I get better, start having him lock deals up and close deals, get used to that. And then once that happens, then never step out. I will always be involved in the business, and I'll still, whether it's now that we've been in 2 years or whether it's been 20 years, I'll always close deals because I just love doing it. It's just, it's a challenge for me, and it brings a rush for me when I do it. But, definitely looking to grow a team to where I can also coach and implement, like Jen was saying, with the SOPs and stuff along those lines. But right now, really focusing and honing in on the acquisitions side of things in terms of how to talk to people and, how to help them understand the process and stuff along those lines. There's a lot of changes we have done.
We're looking to get more into a CEO position of our business as opposed to doing, wearing all the hats.
Right.
You're going up the rung until you can work yourself out, and then you can oversee kind of like where you want to insert yourself. And I think the benchmark of baby being due is good because it puts a hard timeline where you can like see measurable progress and then know, okay, it hit. Now where are we at? Because I'm supposed to be backing out of this a little bit, cover down with the baby, and so it'll be good to kind of round out the next 6 months or so.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we'll get that going, and we got that. Although baby's here, I'm still going to make the adjustments to still run and operate, and got to keep it going, man. It's a passion for me. So I love doing it. So we definitely make it work when baby comes. And we're both build a team to get there. But when it comes down to it, I'll still be running, man.
Yeah, but we're so fortunate. Like, I know we're in a position that a lot of people dream to be in, and that's what I'm focusing on, is reminding myself how lucky we are that like we're having a baby. We're having a little boy in March, and he's gonna be here. Like, it's not like he has to ask his boss, like, "Hey, can I have this time off?" Like, no, he's gonna be here. Like, I don't have to worry about anything. So just having that peace of mind, it's really, real estate has just changed our lives in a positive direction that I never anticipated it could.
Right.
That's beautiful.
That's exactly what we feel too. Because I know you guys know with a toddler, they get sent home from daycare every other day because they're sick, and we have to call out of work or, tell our boss and check in. So it's that kind of, as a motivation for us, for sure. Because every time we have to do that and we can't go pick them up, it's like, now what do we do?
Your hands are tied and you're in an impossible position. It's and of course it stinks when your child's sick, but you want to be there to comfort them too. You know, that's your baby.
Yeah, you want to be there to do what you can. So it's provided a lot of freedom and a lot of
the one thing that I also heard at community camp really is it was Jerry Norton, and he said, it wasn't a specific dollar amount that I felt like I was financially free. It was when I was able to choose who I was around, like change your company and really pick who you wanted to be around. Like if you don't have to show up to somewhere for a salary or for some wage, then you're really free at that point, because you can say, no, I don't need to do that. Or I'm going to show up here. I'm going to invite these people around me. And then you can, you don't have friends just by location. You have friends because of drive and in similar alignments versus just, I happen to grow up with them for 15 years.
Right.
It's a real, it's a separator, right? You want to be around people who have similar alignments as you and who challenge you and to be better, and also respect how you choose to live your life.
Yeah.
Yep,
well,
100%.
and it's crazy too. I feel like this goes back to energy as well. One of our very closest friends, she's flipping a property out here. And she's just amazing. She's incredible. She used to be on the Food Network. And she's one of our dearest friends. And it's funny because, when Rob and I were working our like 9 to 5, or I say 9 to 5, but when we were working, our shift work jobs, it was like we lived for our days off, and our days off, it was, we wanted to have fun and party and, like just let loose. And I look back and the people that we hung out with, not that they were bad people by any means, but like they were okay with that kind of life. Like that was what they did, and they were comfortable in it. And like, we always knew that like, this was not the life we wanted forever. So as we started like shifting and getting into owning our own business and really focusing our time from like the whole party scene to like, let's get serious. What can we do to make money and to get to a better situation for our family and like more aligned with what it is that we really want in our lives. So we ended up meeting this girl, like I said, who I'm really good friends with. And I feel like God puts people in your life, or whoever you believe in, but people get put in your life at the right time for the right reasons.
Yep.
And I told her not too long ago, we had a conversation, and I was like, I feel that had we met any, sooner or before that point, we probably wouldn't have been friends because our energy did not line up, but she gets after it just like we do. She's in software development and she flips properties, and we have so much in common with our goals. And it's just crazy because we never would have linked up like we have. And not that we've like let go of anybody. We have no bad blood with anybody, but it's just shifted. It's just shifted. We don't have time to sit here and mess around, like our priorities have drastically changed. And by doing that, also the people in our life now, like they have the same priorities too. So it's really crazy because you really do attract, who you hang around with is who you are too.
And every day feels like a Friday, right? You don't think that, it's like, oh, Monday is coming around, or, whatever your shift was, your break day. And then you reset, you got a taste of that like freedom and that life. You're like, oh, I still got the money in the bank. I have my time off. Oh, next day, Monday rolls around, or you're like, oh, back at the grind. You don't feel that anymore because you found, there's still seasons of hard work and sacrificing pleasures, but you have the ability for every day to be your Friday.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. It's so funny too, because I was just telling, like, our son is homeschooled now. So we don't have any of that, like, oh, dang, it's Monday, we got to get to the bus stop, or, you know what I mean? Like, our schedule is really whatever we choose it to be.
Right.
And so, like, I don't know, I'm sure you guys have, like, the Sunday afternoon blues of, like, oh, man, the weekend's over. Well, I got to go back to work.
I'll say this, too, man. It's a cursing. It's a blessing and a cursing, too. It just depends. Having the freedom of schedule is nice, but if you're not respecting your time management, stuff along those lines, and not getting stuff done, it's very easy to slip. Very easy. If you're going to bed at 1:00 in the morning and getting up at like 11 in the afternoon and just living life as a flow. Yeah. I mean, you got to have structure, especially when you don't have work, because, when you have somewhere to be, it's like, hey, I got to be there.
Yeah.
So, that's the thing, I get up at 5 a.m. every morning. I'm exercising, I'm doing stuff. And then I have a set task, set schedule. Some people can work differently, and more power to them. But for me, having that structure is important because, when you do have all the freedom, it's very easy to be like, hey, man, I don't got to go to work tomorrow. I own my own business. I'll just chill out tonight. I'll sleep during the day, and then I can. No, you got to have that focus too in terms of a schedule. So even though you're away from it, you still got to keep that schedule. But the nice thing is you're at home to be able to keep that schedule and not having to drive somewhere and do other things for other people. You just do what you need to do.
Well, and something that I've always said, well, I haven't always said it because I didn't think that this was a thing until I had the pleasure of experiencing it. But with great freedom comes great responsibility. And that's something that he's talking about the 1 a.m., 11 in the morning thing because we've done that. Like, it's trial and error. Like we started binge watching Outlander, like love the show, but dang, we couldn't turn it off. Like, and so we weren't being responsible with that. It was like, oh, just one more episode, by 4 a.m. Like, we're like, shoot, oh, well, we don't have to work tomorrow. We'll just, we own our own business. We can show up when we want to. And so
doesn't work that way.
Yeah. We've really had to make sure that we're more diligent across the board with everything. And maybe even a little more so than before. Because it's really easy to let it slip. Like you start making a ton of money and then you're like, oh, well, let's just go on vacation for 3 weeks. We don't have, and then you get into that routine of like, hey, I just want to have fun. Who doesn't? But then like, you got to get back down to business, like you got to keep doing the things that are fueling your bank account.
Yep. You got to be consistent and you got to have that discipline and structure to be able to get it done. Yep.
And I think it's real impressive that you went from like, okay, especially you, Rob, is like, you work in the shift for the long days and you come home and you're like, okay, I'm not going to just always relax. I'm going to go and dive into things that are going to like propel my family forward. And then as you found that success transitioning out of the police force, then you didn't just immediately snap back into just, absolute just recklessness. Like and then you maybe slipped in it for a little bit and then you're like, no, I don't like living here. And you brought yourself right back out. And so you both as a team have been extremely disciplined and you could see that just through, all the progress that you guys have made. And that's translated into money in the bank account and lessons learned.
Yeah,
that's right. 100%. Yeah. And it's all about the growth too, and in life, you always learn the lessons and you grow. And, that's the thing that makes life spectacular, right?
Yeah.
It's being able to have the successes, but also to obtain the lessons too, because those lessons build that wisdom, that intelligence behind certain situations or situations you deal with. And it only propels you forward to create more success.
Yeah.
Right. So like, a lot of people will see it, and especially starting out in wholesaling, they'll see it where, oh man, I've tried and it's just not working. And all this, it's not. Yeah, it can get tough. But when it comes down to it, it's like keep that drive going, keep pushing forward, keep learning those lessons, and don't give up because sooner or later, how fast you want it, it's going to snap in your favor. Yeah. And you're going to start tearing it up. You're going to start understanding things. And it's like, whoa. And then you're going to get to a level where you're like, man, I'm doing pretty good. And then you're going to look up and see the top of the mountain and say, still got to get there. So, right. So you got to keep climbing. So, it's all fun. And,
there's never been a failure. It's just been a lesson.
It's all lessons, man. That's why I'm a firm believer in that. People go, oh man, you fail. You only fail when you quit. Mm-hmm. If you don't quit, you're not failing. Because you know what? You're willing to stand up and keep going. And you're pushing. You know what I'm saying? If, because you can say, well, I'm not quitting, but I'm not going to do anything either. I mean, that's not, so, not quitting and propelling forward with action, that's big. So, I would say the biggest driver for me is, my personality, I'm all about win, win, win. Lesson, win, 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 lesson, win, win, win. Lessons I win, but I'm a driver. So I want to make sure that anything that I go after, I attack it 100%. I learn it, I get better from it. And then I look for more. It's pretty much what it is. So, when I come home, like you were saying with police work, 11.5-hour shift, drive another hour and a half home, and then boom, I'm here 4 or 5 hours until 11 o'clock, texting, calling. Well, you can't text past 8, but following up, trying to find new systems, and finally going to bed at 11 to get up at 2:30 to leave at 3:30. So it was like what I had to do. And so now I've translated that. Now that I don't have to do that, now I'm here all day. Recently we've had a talk as a relationship in our marriage where it's, she's like, well, I want you to be down here and I want you to spend more time with you. And I'm like, I understand that. I said, but at the same, and I understand where she's coming from. She's right. There's better ways to handle your schedule. But for me, man, it's like I'm so driven that at times I don't even pay attention to the clock. I'll literally be like so work oriented, like focused on what I'm doing in terms of like, texting, following up, making phone calls.
Yeah.
I'll look up at my window and realize it's dark and going, dang, I got to get downstairs. My daughter wants to go for a walk.
Yeah.
She'll walk, Daddy.
I'll be like, one more call. And then like 20 calls later, I'll be like, come on, babe.
Yeah.
Like, I got to pull him away. He's like a kid in a candy store.
But
like,
I understand, man. I mean, I'm going from 9 o'clock in the morning to 7 and I love it. But at the same time, there are, like you were saying earlier, there is, the structure brings that cutoff and allows you. So I've been working with that. Like tonight, I got to make one more call after this. But it's actually with a guy I'm working with.
I'll let you guys know how that works out.
Yeah.
Let's play some bets.
But pretty much end it after that, and then always working on maintaining a schedule as best you can.
Yeah. No, but I get it too, though. I think that he probably feels a little more pressure than normal because, well, we have a baby coming and hospital bills aren't cheap, and it's been primarily him doing the business. And like, if he wasn't driving, this car would be not moving. Like that's where I'm at. I'm in a very weird space right now where I'm just like really struggling with focusing on anything. And I don't know if it's just like pregnancy brain or what, but I'm like, I just get overwhelmed very easily right now. We just started the second trimester, so maybe like maybe there's going to be a little shift, and like I'm praying for this energy that they say I'm going to feel, like this burst of energy. It can come any second now, and I would not be upset about it. But I think too, like, it's hard because I feel like I'm pushing all this stuff off on him, like, hey, my mind's not here, so you're going to have to take the reins right now. But then at the same time, I'm like, but I want to hang out with you. And, I'm giving him mixed signals. I realize that's probably like confusing and frustrating. And so I'm working with a life coach, we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's probably, a factor that whether he'll admit it or not, I don't know. But that probably plays into him putting in such long hours too, because he's wanting to make sure that our family is, being cared for and provided for. So I acknowledge that too.
Yeah. It's definitely important to get that work done so that you are able to provide for your family. But I think that's definitely a motivation and a driver towards your next goal and your next target is to get, a team out from under you so that, you don't have to completely step away, but you still have that chance to kind of look away and come back to it when you can.
Yeah.
And I think there's like a push and a pull with interests, but as long as your communication style doesn't like blow that up, I think that's a healthy push pull on like, hey, I need to focus on a little bit more work, or hey, pull back for family. Yeah. And then, I mean, time is still elapsing as this happens. So you're kind of going through learning more about each other through that period. And then as something comes up again, you know how to handle it so long as you put each other first in that sense, I believe.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I realized too, like he is putting our family first, even though he might not be downstairs hanging out with me and the kids, like he's, taking care of us in other ways. So I have to realize that, and I have to be a little more gracious.
No, it's understandable. It's all part of working together and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The thing is too, I acknowledge too, I'm a driver, so I want to get things done and I want to keep going and keep going. There's some nights, man, it's like 8 o'clock. I've been in here for almost like 12 hours and I'm like, I want to keep going, but then I have to tell myself, hey, let's chill out. Let's go chill with family. Let's go to bed.
He has like one gear. Like it's constantly in fifth gear with him. And like, I'm like, babe, you gotta tone it down. Like I'm not hearing what you're saying. Like what you're laying on me is just going over my head right now. Like I'm not in a place to like, let's talk about baby names. That's what I tried to get him to do. Let's talk about family stuff. I don't want to talk.
She'll be in bed sitting there, I walk in. I'm like, babe, I just did this. I just did that. Hey, we just did this. Hey, look, I just got a new CRM. Hey, we're going to organize it. She looked at me. She looks at me. She goes, I'm not in the mood right now. And I go, okay.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. And I mean, we're
But-
trying to cram a lot of things in too in this period of time,
It's
and
fun.
we're making like drastic changes. So
yeah, and part of the cramming too is just the goals that we want to attain. Like, you know, I'm
Yeah.
looking to have $1 million by December. I'm looking to grow this business to where it's scaling. I am doing it. I already have it in vision. So it's like we're going.
Yeah.
And this is December 2024, correct? You're talking about
2023. We're going.
$1 million in the bank. Let's go.
Yep,
Let's go.
Yep, it's possible, and everyone,
Mhm.
you know, there are people. That, and it's not even about people, man. I believe in myself and know that that's what I want to do, and it's going to happen. So, you know, when it comes down to it, I put that in my mind, and it's like, hey, let's go. You know what I'm saying? There's no time to chill, and I find my time to exercise and get stuff done and hang out with the family. But other than that, man, I'm calling sellers. I'm lurking. I'm
lurking.
I'm lurking. I'm working on my negotiation skills and getting fine tuned in that aspect. And, you know, definitely looking to bring someone else on who, you know, as I get better and I progress through this program that I'm in, it's fantastic. Bring someone else on, start training them too. And hey, man, grow this business to the top.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we close our deals, use a fantastic transactional coordinator.
Yeah.
Get our stuff done. That's what I'm looking forward to right there.
Yeah, listen,
So I don't have to deal with title companies and all that stuff.
Yeah.
you know, you're enabling my pattern of avoidance by having this business, right? Like,
Hey, you do what you do best, and then, you know.
I'm going to avoid and I'm going to be like, here you go.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Take-
So that
take care of my
clarifies kind of like how you want to round out this year. Moving into next year, what are some tangible targets that you have? You know, the birth of your son in March. Is that early March, late March? What are we looking at?
March 25th.
Awesome.
And you know what's crazy? What's crazy? My favorite number and was my basketball number is 3. And Rob's favorite number and his football number is 25. And we're due March 25th.
Yeah, it's
I
crazy.
love that.
So you have a 24-hour grace period right there.
I know.
Plus or minus. Right?
I know. Like, let's just add some more pressure to it, right?
But yeah, like as far as like other targets, you want to hit that profit goal. You have the birth of your son. What else do you like envision for 2024 in this current moment?
I want to just one thing that we're big on right now that we're striving towards is just consistent deal flow. Like, and we want a minimum of 5 a month. Like, that's our low goal, just a minimum of 5 wholesale deals a month. And we want to get that consistent, and then we'll move up from there. But once we start having that consistent deal flow, then we have other things too. Like, we're looking at, you know, buying other businesses and expanding, investing our money, buying other properties. Definitely want to get into more flips. We learned a lot from the one that we did. And so, you know, we're not Tarek and Heather by any means, but, you know, definitely, looking to do more of that and just expand in other areas as well and have other streams of income.
Yeah, I mean, running along the lines of what she's saying, for sure, you know, always working on that scaling. You know, I definitely want to have that lead manager there to take care of texting. I'd like to have 2 cold callers. You know, by early next year, say January of 24, have that acquisition manager sliding in because we have Dispo already that's being handled.
Yeah.
And work with 2 acts, me and him. Even though I'm still in the business, still grinding it and going. Working on, like she said, consistent deals a month. First goal is to get to that 5 deals a month consistently, right? Then step that up to 10 deals a month. These are minimums too. It's not just 5 and I'm done. So it's like 5 minimum consistently monthly, and then 10 minimum consistently monthly, then 15. And, you know, we utilize SMS now, utilizing cold call, but definitely want to see in the PPLs and the PPCs and, you know, other avenues, TV commercials, radio, you know, other avenues of marketing to get more leads to come in.
Yeah. We've been interested in doing a podcast too. We want to talk to you guys about that.
Yeah, definitely want to do a podcast.
Yeah.
But you know, when it comes down, doing a podcast and getting started like that, definitely got to talk to you guys about that. But, you know, another thing for me as a side note to like grow other stuff is to start really focusing on our rental portfolio, start buying rentals and having that portfolio built for not only generational wealth, but for passive income coming in monthly,
Mhm.
right? And then, expanding into the flips and then looking into other businesses. But, right now, I see 2024 is to expand our rental portfolio, buy more properties. I want to at least have 3 by December. And then next year, throughout the year, look to buy between 5 and 10 sub twos. I'd love to look into some sub twos because they're great avenues to get in and not have to put as much down per se or whatever in. You can put that amount and then work from there. So love to see that avenue.
Yeah.
But work solely on getting our wholesale business to flow like she doesn't like when I say this, well-oiled jet.
He's always got to add his own spin to something.
And then once that's flowing like that, and having the rentals, then, maybe I want to go into a podcast like you guys are doing, which is incredible. YouTube channel. I want to write my own, I've already envisioned it, but write my own books and really get into keynote speaking and help other people grow their successes too. One of my core in life is to live and to give, man, and live life, with luxury and enjoyment, but also to give as much as I can, not only with monetary, but with the lessons that I've learned to help teach others so that they can grow themselves and grow successful businesses and be happy with their families and be at home more. And so that's a whole goal for me. So having my own mentorship program, or at least, helping others in that aspect to help them start from zero like I did, not knowing anything, and then all of a sudden growing. We had a fantastic mentor starting out.
Yeah.
Thank God for him. And I mean, he's the reason why we are where we're at today, 100%. And, I reached out to a lot of mentors just to be short on it. A lot of people on Instagram when I first started, hey, man, look, I'm looking to get into it. And I got some people were nice enough to wave and, hey, that's cool, man. No response. And then some people didn't even respond. This guy came through. We had a full conversation, felt like we were best friends. And he was like, well, let me know when you get into it. This was like 2 months before I started. So then when I started, I let him know, and he was like, all right, man, let's roll.
Yeah.
And we started hitting the ground with him. We were JVing with him. We were working. He was showing us things and had a team that we were working with. And to this day, we still work with him, and doing deals.
He really took us under his wing, and he didn't have to.
No,
he's a multimillionaire. We're just low guys on the totem pole. He didn't need to work with us, but he was just so gracious and taught us so much.
Yeah, taught us so much, took us under his wing, and it was incredible. And we still have a relationship with him. We still do deals with him and still work with him. Granted, we do our own stuff too, to kind of expand on our knowledge and wisdom. But it was fantastic to have that. So I want to be in that I want to be. I always tell him when I talk to him, I want to be in your shoes, man. That's where I'm headed. That's what I visualize. I want to help other people grow their businesses. I want to have, like you guys are doing, podcasts, YouTube channels, to be able to spread the knowledge, the lessons, and everything that I've learned to help others grow. I know it's long-winded, but I get excited when I talk about helping people.
I love every second of it, man.
Yeah. It's been an incredible journey, and
it has been.
We don't know what's going to happen now. So we're excited.
It goes like this sometimes, but when it comes down to it, nothing beats the success and the lessons you learn from it.
But I do have to say, though, it is, even though it can be challenging, running a business with your spouse, it's also been so rewarding. Like, I love being able to be around him all the time. I hope he feels the same way.
I do.
But we get to spend so much time together, and, we don't get sick of each other. He's the only person, aside from my kids, but he's really the only person that I'm like, I don't need a break from him. We complement each other so well, and everything's always fun. Even, just doing the mundane tasks every day, it's still fun. It's just when you have the right person by your side, it makes everything so much better. And I'm definitely I'll never forget one sermon at church on Sunday. The preacher was talking, and he said, it was a sermon on relationships, and he said, I'm at my best when I am in a happy, healthy relationship. And it's so true. He brings out the best in me. It might take him a little bit to pull out the best in me, but he does. And, we have a lot of fun together. It's awesome.
And I think that was a beautiful way to just wrap up the entire message and an episode, and really, you showed, there is a struggle when you go at it by yourself. You can kind of like, there's no like regulation, right? You just dive into whatever you're doing, and maybe you haven't crafted out your purpose. But when you're in that relationship with somebody where you're sharing your life with them, you know, it's such a beautiful experience. And I think it's one that is often misrepresented on different mediums, but you know, it's our mission to kind of find power couples like yourselves where, you know, you're killing it in life, and because you're doing it in life, you're able to translate that to business. It's not necessarily the other way around. It's first you're good partners, and then you're able to add on that extra layer and not completely break apart. And that's a beautiful, you know, shining example of what it looks like. You know, it's not just all the highs, there's downs, but because you guys are connected and you value each other more than anything else, you're able to push through. And that's
Yep. 100%, man. Yeah.
It's been a beautiful journey.
That's right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for your time. We really appreciate you. And we're so grateful to be a part of your journey. We're here to help in any way we can.
And same with you guys.
Yeah. I mean, we've since the beginning, we've always clicked, man. We've always kicked it off. And every time we talk, it's like although we haven't maybe sometimes talked for a while, it's like we talked yesterday.
Pick right back
up.
So,
yeah,
it's been fantastic to talk with you guys. And you know, really, really, really congratulations on all that you guys have accomplished too. That's incredible, the actions you guys have taken. That's truly commendable, and it's awesome to see. And you know, even motivates me because I'm like, man, I'm gonna work with them. You know, she's got that TC service now. Let's go. Like I went in the room as soon as I found out. I went downstairs like, hey, did you know? And she was like, yeah. I just saw it. That's awesome. Well, we'll be using her. You know what I'm saying? Because TC kind of for me, sometimes. But in any case.
Awesome. How can people reach you guys on social media?
Yeah, what's the handles?
Actually, let me see real quick. Sorry about that. So my Facebook name, it's just Robert Castillo.
Yeah. And mine's Jennifer Castillo, and then my handle on Instagram is Jen_Castillo 810.
Yeah, and my handle is lowercase r. It's Rob_Cast CAST 2533.
No, it's just 253.
Oh, 253.
We'll have it in the description.
That's why you have to have a good partner there. See, she caught it. I wouldn't have caught it. Everyone would have been like, hey, 25. Yeah, 253.
That's literally our passcode to everything. So there you go. 253.
Oh my God.
We'll cut that.
Yeah. So Rob_Cast 253. Yeah. So reach out. I mean, love to talk to you. Even if it's you're starting out in wholesaling, or if it's something to where you've been doing it or whatnot. As you can tell, we love to talk. So reach out and we'll build a connection.
Yeah. We're down to help anybody who's, or even if they're just mildly interested, let us know. We can, try to get you in the right direction. So
sounds good. You guys are awesome. Thank you.
You too. You too. And we'll talk soon for sure.
Yeah.